Letters of recommendation, you should be asking for them now. You should be giving them at least a CV or whatever you have. Don't wait. If you have nothing, which is impossible because your residence already, you should have something. If you have nothing, still go and ask for a letter of recommendation within the next 2 weeks. Maybe you don't all do it tomorrow because all of a sudden all your things are going to be like, whoa, what happened? So just over the next week, though, think about how you want to ask. It's best if you ask in person. COVID's COVID, so if you don't want to ask in person, who cares? Send a nice email, give them a phone call, leave a message. Don't be elusive. Just be direct and to the point. Don't say, hey, can I talk to you? Just say, hey, if they're not in their office or if you just want to meet them and that's not possible, just write a direct email saying, I really like to ask you for an outstanding letter of recommendation because I think you know me really well and it would be an honor to have you help me in my next step in career. Don't all write that, please. Write things like that. If you all write that, again, people are going to be like, what happened? What's going on? Students do that, and then Dr. Shah yells at me because he's like, Mike, what were the words that you told them to use? All right, so then how many do you need? So I say as many as you need. So if you are applying for a job, you need probably at least 3. They'll ask for references. Never put references at the bottom of your CV. Your CV is your CV. You can give them a separate document that includes your references if they want to call people. For as far as letters of recommendation, you want at least 3. No matter where you're going in life, 3 is the magic number. More than 3 is wonderful, but you may not always be able to have the time. Other people don't have the time. 4, fellowship, right? The minimum is 3. You can upload 4 letters of recommendation in ERAS, so you should have 4. If everybody applying for that same job has 4 and you have 3 or 2, what's wrong with you? Why couldn't you get 4? Why are there not 4 people at your institutions that are going to like you enough to write you a letter of recommendation? So you want to make sure that if you're applying for fellowship, it's 4. If you're applying for a job, minimum of 3, okay? And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that all say you're an amazing human being. The more the merrier. It's more likely you get the job easier. All right, and then from who? From people who know you well. You want to get letters from people who you worked with the most. Obviously, they need to be attendings, but you want them to make sure that they know who you are. And if you don't think they know who you are, but you still think they'd write you a good letter, take the time to talk to them. Dr. Shah will always ask people to come in so he can talk to them. The reason why is, one, he practices this little interview thing to get to know you a little bit better, but also to help you learn how to construct better answers on real interviews. But then he can write his letters are amazing when he writes them. So are Davor's. I don't know the rest of the faculty that well to say, hey, let me see your letter of recommendation. But I know the two of them write amazingly loving, passionate letters for everybody they write them from. Now, don't everyone jump and ask them either. You need to ask the people that really know you well. Just back to the letter of recommendation. Again, if you give them a CV and somewhat of a personal statement, ask them to critique your personal statement and help you with it. One, they then have a little bit more ownership of how you're going to perform in your job search or interviewing or application, and so they'll write an even better letter just because they want to, they feel now that they're on your team and they need to make sure that you're done well because they're helping you edit other stuff as too. It's a psychological thing. It's real, even though people will say, I don't know what you're talking about. So you want to make sure. Then you also have an expert in the field kind of reviewing your personal statement and helping you maybe change the language to sound more like that cardiologist or more like that hematologist oncologist. You don't have to just ask people at Downstate to help review those things. You can ask people anywhere to review those things. You can cold call people, ask alumni, friends, family, everything. Not letters of recommendation, but your CV and personal statement. I'm trying to remember. I know I said something at the beginning that I was going to cover when we hit the letter of recommendation part, but I don't remember now. If anyone remembers, just go ahead and shout it out. And then...
Sorry, Dr. Kinan. Do you want to save the questions to the end? There's a question in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just say that. Is a letter from the program director included in your LOR or not? So if you get... So most program directors have to write a letter to support your ERAS application anyway. So yeah, if you guys are applying for fellowships, you gotta go talk to Dr. Guillen. Okay, it's a must.
Yeah, I think on ERAS, if I'm not mistaken, one letter has to be PD or something like that.
Well,
program.
It doesn't have to be, but if it's not there, you're not getting the fellowship.
Yeah, exactly. So take that as something that's automatically there, and then you need your 3 other letters.
Yeah, good, excellent point. Thanks, Siobhan. All right, nothing says hire me like a thank you letter. Send thank you letters to your letter writers, to anyone you want to. Practice writing thank you letters. Actual thank you letters make people feel so much more happier than they used to, right? It makes a huge difference in our lives to get a real, actual piece of mail. It means that you took 5 minutes of your day just for that person. It really does change the way we think about you. Now, don't ever write me, if I write you a letter of recommendation, don't write me a thank you letter. Don't waste the paper on me. I will know that you really appreciated it. But for when other people are doing it, please write them a thank you letter. And when you go on interviews, write them a thank you letter. It is really important. And the people that you also need to remember to thank are program coordinators. They made sure that everything gets done, your application, your interview, maybe even your program coordinators here at Downstate. Take a moment and just thank them. Nobody thanks them. They will remember you and do your paperwork first if you take a few moments just to make them feel special. This is from real world, not just medicine, but it applies to medicine. If you don't send a thank you note, 86% said it showed a lack of follow-through and they're not that interested in you. 56% said it indicates that the candidate probably isn't that serious, and 22% of employers are less likely to hire you if you don't send a thank you note. So make sure you send one. And this day and age, email's so much easier, and a lot of people don't think about sending thank you notes. So if you guys, the select 18 who are here tonight, remember to do it, you're going to have an edge on every single other person. And if someone says, don't send me a thank you letter because I don't want one, don't. Send it to everyone who works for them instead, because they never get them. And then they'll talk about you. They'll say how wonderful you are. And it really makes it, I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. All right, so this is the end. These are 3 books if you have the time. What color is your parachute? Don't buy it. If you need to learn ways of getting textbooks by alternative means, please ask me when you see me in person. I won't document that stuff on paper or emails. But there's ways to get each one of these books without spending a lot of money. So What Color is Your Parachute is not geared towards medicine, but everything in it helps you find a job. If you ever get burnt out in life and need to find a new job, that book is also amazing. It is a great book. The 2-Hour Job Search, in the book, the guy actually says this is not for medicine or academics, but a lot of the techniques, a lot of the things that are in there, you can apply into fellowship and physician job hunting. So again, that's another one. And the one book that, if you're not going to read any other book for the rest of your life, How to Win Friends and Influence People is probably one of the best books that will make you the best pediatrician, the best spouse, the best friend, the best sibling, the best child, the best parent, a wonderful person to work with and see and hang out with. It's a real good narrative book on how to influence people in the positive way if you're meaning it for good reasons. I can't recommend that book enough.